Hey Mason.
Hey Lily, how's your morning?
Busy. Classes, life, saving the world.
Against the counter like he owned the place. "Morning, man," I said, sliding into the booth across from him. "You get the usual?" He grinned. "Always. But today extra whipped cream. You're gonna be jealous." I laughed. "You know me too well." The smell of coffee mixed with the chatter around us. Lily walked past, humming a tune I couldn't place. My chest tightened for no reason I could explain. "Hey Mason," she said, flashing that familiar smile. My stomach did that stupid flip it always did. "Hey Lily," I replied, trying to sound casual. I grabbed my coffee. "How's your morning?" "Busy. Classes, life, saving the world," she joked, rolling her eyes. "You're still surviving senior year?" I shrugged. "Barely. But someone has to graduate on time." Jake snorted. "Yeah, right. Mason's surviving, but just." I shot him a look. "You think you're funny?" "Totally," he said, grinning. Lily laughed and sat down beside me. "You two never change, do you?" I caught her glance, subtle but enough to make my chest squeeze. "Some things are better left the same," I said softly, almost to myself. She tilted her head. "Mason, are you mumbling again?" I smiled awkwardly. "Maybe." Jake rolled his eyes. "Ignore him. He's in his deep thoughts phase." We spent the next few minutes talking about classes, professors, and weekend plans. Lily teased Jake about his habit of leaving assignments to the last minute, and I couldn't help but watch her laugh. There was something effortless about it. Something that made the world feel lighter. "So, you still sticking to your study plan, Mason?" Lily asked suddenly. "Yeah," I said, sipping my coffee. "I mean, it's a plan. Whether I follow it is a different story." "You'll follow it," she said, like she knew me better than I knew myself. "Yeah, I hope so," I replied, smiling. Her faith made me feel calm. Like nothing could go wrong. Jake groaned. "You two are acting weirdly normal." "I like it. Makes me feel peaceful, or jealous. Not sure which." I laughed. "Just peaceful, I hope." Lily leaned back. "It's nice though, isn't it? All of us here just normal." "Yeah," I said. "Perfect even." For a moment, I let myself believe that everything would stay this way. No drama, no surprises, no heartbreak. Just friendship, laughter, and those small moments that made life worth it. "Hey Mason, can you help me with this paper later?" Jake asked, breaking my thoughts. "Sure," I said. "We'll make a study session out of it. Maybe Lily can join and judge our terrible writing." Lily laughed. "I'll pass. But I'll bring moral support." I watched her leave, feeling a mix of admiration and something deeper I didn't dare acknowledge. She was my best friend's sister. Just a friend. Nothing more. I told myself that a dozen times, and yet my chest ached whenever she smiled at me. Jake clapped me on the shoulder. "Stop staring. You're creeping me out." "Not staring," I said quickly. "Just thinking." "Sure, Mason. Thinking about world peace or Lily again?" I shrugged. "Maybe both." We walked out of the cafe together, joking and laughing. I felt safe, happy, and completely naive. I had no idea how fragile this perfect moment really was. How easily it could shatter. For now, though, I let myself enjoy it. I couldn't believe what what had just happened. "Did you see that?" I hissed under my breath as I grabbed Jake by the sleeve outside the lecture hall. "See what?" Jake frowned, glancing at the students milling around us. "Mason, you're freaking me out." "Calm down. Don't call me Mason right now." I snapped. "Lily Carter just, my hands shook. She told everyone, everything." Jake blinked. "What are you talking about?" "Everything about what?" I felt my face heat up, anger and embarrassment blending into a sharp ache in my chest. "About me. About my feelings for her. She made it public. Right there in front of half the campus." Jake's jaw dropped. "Wait, you mean she told people you like Lily? Why would she do that?" "I don't know," I said, my voice rising. "I trusted her, Jake. I told her private stuff. And my hands went to my head. Why would she do that?" Jake put a hand on my shoulder. "Mason, maybe you're overreacting? Are you sure she meant it in a bad way?" I shook my head so hard my neck hurt. "Overreacting? Do you see me? My face is burned in front of everyone." She laughed. "Jake, she laughed while she told everyone I like her." Jake frowned. "Whoa, okay, yeah. That's messed up. But maybe she didn't think it'd be that bad." I looked at him, incredulous. "Not that bad? She humiliated me. And for what? To get attention?" To make a joke at my expense. Jake ran a hand through his hair. I don't know her motives, Mason. But maybe you should talk to her? Talk to her? I repeated like it was a foreign language. You saw her. She walked away smiling like she didn't care, like she had planned this. My chest tightened and I swallowed hard. How do you even talk to someone after they do something like that? Jake hesitated. I guess you just say how you feel. Say how I feel? I repeated bitterly. I told her everything. And now everyone knows. How the hell do you say that again? Jake rubbed the back of his neck. Mason, you're right. That's rough. Really rough. I'm sorry. Sorry? I snapped, but then I caught myself. Sorry doesn't fix anything, Jake. She ruined everything. I don't know if I can ever look at her the same way. Jake stayed quiet and I realized he didn't have an answer. Neither did I. My mind was spinning, turning over every conversation, every laugh, every casual smile. Had it all been a joke? Had I misread everything? I clenched my fist. I thought she was different, you know? I thought Lily Carter actually cared about me. And now I don't know what's real anymore. Jake's voice was soft. People can be complicated. Maybe she didn't think it'd hurt you like this. Or maybe she just didn't care. I felt a cold pit open in my stomach. Didn't care. Yeah, that's it, isn't it? She just didn't care. And I let myself trust her. Jake looked at me hesitating. So, what are you going to do? I stared at the ground, the anger and hurt warping my vision. I don't know, I admitted. I want to scream at her. I want to make her feel what I felt. But at the same time, my voice dropped. I don't even know if I can face her without breaking apart. Jake placed a hand on my shoulder again. Whatever you decide, I've got your back. You're not alone in this. I swallowed, trying to steady my shaking hands. Thanks, man. But it feels like I've lost something I can't get back. Trust, I guess. I never thought she'd do something like this. I never thought she could betray me. Jake gave me a firm look. People make mistakes, Mason. But this was a choice. You'll figure out how to handle it. You always do. I nodded slowly, though my chest still felt tight. Yeah, maybe. But right now, I just want to disappear. I want to crawl into my room and never see anyone again. Jake sighed. You're not disappearing on me. We're facing this together. I looked at him, grateful, but my mind was already spinning through 1,000 ways to respond to Lily Carter. Confront her? Avoid her? Or something else? All I knew for certain was that nothing would ever feel the same again. Lily Carter had shattered something in me, and I had no idea if I could ever put the pieces back together. Hey Mason, are you okay? Sarah's voice was soft, careful, as she approached me outside the library. I looked up, forcing a smile I didn't feel. Yeah, fine. Just tired. Everyone's talking about it, she said gently. About what Lily Carter did. People are being cruel. I laughed bitterly. Cruel? Sarah, they're monsters. And it's all her fault. I stopped, taking a deep breath. She made me. I don't even know who I am right now. Sarah crouched slightly to be at eye level. You're still Mason Carter. This doesn't define you. I know Lily's complicated, but you can't let her ruin you. I swallowed hard. Complicated? Sarah, she humiliated me. Everyone knows I liked her. And she made it a joke. A performance for everyone. She nodded slowly. I get it. I'm sorry. That's awful. I glanced around. Half the students walking by whispered, giving side glances. My face burned. Awful doesn't cover it. I feel like I'm shrinking, disappearing in front of everyone I know. Sarah frowned. You're not disappearing. People care. I care. Her words were small, but they hit harder than I expected. You do? I asked, voice cracking slightly. Yes. You're my friend Mason. And this isn't fair. But you can handle it. You're stronger than you think. I laughed, but it was hollow. Stronger? Stronger feels like lying in the hallway, listening to everyone whisper about you while you want to crawl into a hole. Sarah shook her head. You're not alone. That's what matters. Don't let Lily Carter, or anyone, make you feel worthless. I nodded, trying to absorb her support, but my mind kept replaying the cafeteria scene, Lily's laugh echoing, her eyes gleaming with mischief. How easily she manipulated everything. How effortlessly she made herself the center while I, humiliated, exposed, felt invisible. Thanks, Sarah, I said finally. Really? I needed someone to talk to. You can always talk to me, she said, giving me a reassuring smile. I looked away, scowling. I just don't understand her. How can someone be so charming and cruel at the same time? How can she act like nothing happened while I feel like I've been gutted? Sarah's brow furrowed. People like Lily, they think about themselves first. Sometimes they don't even realize how much they hurt others. I clenched my fist. She knows exactly what she's doing. And she's good at it. Too good. I can't just let her walk around like she hasn't destroyed me. Sarah placed a hand on my arm. Mason, think carefully before you act. Revenge is tempting, but it can hurt you too. You have to decide what you want, closure, justice, or peace. I stared at my hands, trembling slightly. Peace? How can I find peace when she's walking around smiling like nothing happened? She's arrogant, Sarah said gently. And you're hurt. That's natural. But don't let her arrogance define your next steps. I nodded slowly, feeling a strange fire building inside me. Fire mixed with anger, heartbreak, and determination. Maybe it's time I stop letting her control me. Time I stop being the victim in her little game. Sarah's eyes widened slightly. Mason. I know, I said, raising my voice a little. I can't confront her yet. Not until I'm ready. But I will. I'm not letting her win. I'll make sure she can't just get away with this. Sarah's expression softened. I know you can. And I'll help if you need me. I smiled faintly. Thanks. For now, just listening is enough. We walked through campus together, and I kept my gaze forward, forcing myself to think beyond the whispers, beyond the humiliation. Lily Carter's arrogance and manipulation had planted a seed, one I couldn't ignore. I didn't know yet what form it would take, but I knew one thing. I wasn't done. People avoided me, whispered behind my back, and I felt the isolation pressing down like a weight. But Sarah's presence reminded me that not everyone had turned against me. That gave me a strange kind of strength. As we passed a group of laughing students, I caught sight of Lily Carter in the distance. She looked carefree, radiant, untouched by any consequences. And for the first time since the betrayal, I didn't feel powerless. I clenched my fists, the anger and humiliation twisting into determination. I would survive this. And when the time came, I would make sure Lily Carter's games didn't go unchallenged. For now, though, I let myself walk, breathing and planning silently. Morning, Mason, Jake said, sliding into the booth at the cafe like nothing had happened yesterday. Morning, I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. My stomach twisted at the thought of Lily Carter laughing in the background. Jake grinned. Coffee's on me today. You look like you need it. I managed a faint smile. Thanks. I'll take it. You okay? Jake asked casually. You been quiet lately? I shrugged. Just tired. Nothing major. Jake nodded, sipping his latte. Sure, man. If you say so. I watched him, listening to his jokes and laughter, feeling the divide between what I showed and what I felt. Lily Carter hadn't crossed my mind, yet. And that was my choice, for now. Later, in Professor Daniels' lecture, Mason Carter, I sat near the front, taking notes. Daniels' voice carried authority without pressure. Focus on strategy, Professor Daniels said. Observation before action. Patience beats rash moves. My pen paused mid-sentence. Observation before action. Patience. Daniels didn't know it, but his words hit me in the gut. Lily Carter. Every laugh, every smile, every careless comment replayed in my mind. Observation, patience. I could watch, wait, and plan without letting anyone see the fire building inside. After class, Jake and I walked toward the quad. So, study session tonight? He asked, completely unaware of the storm brewing inside me. Sure, I said. We can review the notes and, maybe work on the presentation together. Jake laughed. Yeah, nothing like last-minute panic to make life interesting. I smiled faintly. Exactly. My thoughts drifted to Lily Carter again. She strutted through life like a queen, unbothered, unpunished. I could confront her, yell, demand apologies, but that wouldn't give me control. Subtlety was better. Observe, wait, and plan. I glanced at Jake, realizing how easy it was to mask anger with normalcy. You know, I said carefully, people aren't always who they seem. Jake raised an eyebrow. Deep, Mason. Careful, you're starting to sound like Daniels. Maybe I've got a mentor too, I said lightly, thinking of Daniels' advice. Observation before action. Patience. Build respect quietly while watching. Jake chuckled. Just don't get all brooding and mysterious. You're not a detective, man. I'll try, I said, hiding the truth beneath a casual grin. That night, I lingered in the library longer than usual, scanning the room. I noticed small things. Lily Carter bragging quietly to classmates, subtly undermining someone in her group. Small slips, arrogance creeping out. These were seeds I could watch, noting patterns. I bide my time. Sarah passed by, giving me a curious look. Late night, Mason? Just catching up, I said, voice even. She smiled faintly. Don't work too hard. You're human, you know. I nodded, grateful for the normalcy, yet my mind raced with strategy. Observation, patience, subtle influence. I didn't need to burn bridges now. I needed control, power, and precision. Jake texted me later. Want to grab coffee tomorrow? I typed back casually, sure, same place. Even in casual conversation, I felt the thrill of hidden plans. No one could see the calculation behind my calm facade. Lily Carter thought she had the upper hand, but patience and quiet observation were my allies now. Sitting back, I realized the dangerous part. Anger and strategy were merging. I didn't just want to survive this. I wanted to reclaim respect, redirect energy, and ensure consequences for those who underestimated me. Professor Daniel's words echoed again. Patience. Observation. Strategy. I smiled faintly. Mason Carter, or maybe just Mason now, was changing. Watching, planning, building quiet strength. For the first time since the betrayal, I felt a tiny spark of satisfaction. I wasn't lost. Not yet. So, Lily Carter wouldn't be able to ignore me either. I spotted Lily Carter across the quad, laughing with a small group of classmates. Mark stood nearby, hanging on her every word. The sight made my chest tighten, but this time I let it fuel something else. Strategy. Jake, I said quietly as we walked past, watch her. See how everyone follows her lead. Jake shrugged. She's charismatic. What do you want me to see? I'm not asking you to do anything, I said. Just notice. Look at how she controls everything without even trying. Jake raised an eyebrow. You planning something? I smiled faintly. Maybe. Observation first, action later. Jake laughed. You sound like Daniels. Calm down, Mason. I ignored him, eyes tracking Lily Carter. She leaned close to Mark, whispering something, and his eyes widened like he'd just discovered treasure. My stomach churned, but I forced it into patience. Later, in the cafeteria, I struck up a conversation with Chloe, who always seemed to notice things. Hey, I said casually, have you seen Lily Carter lately? She's always so confident. Almost too much. Chloe smirked. Confident? Mason, you mean arrogant. She steps on everyone without a second thought. I nodded, hiding satisfaction. Exactly. And Mark, he's clueless. Doesn't he see she's playing him? Chloe laughed softly. Mark? Totally. He's falling for her theatrics big time. That laugh was the first spark of satisfaction I felt in days. Karma was subtle, but it was starting to show. Lily Carter's brilliance was her charm, but charm has cracks. In the library, I observed more. Lily Carter's group clustered around, whispering, laughing at a story one of them told. I noticed the tiny eyes rolled behind her back, the smirks exchanged when she wasn't looking. Everyone's pretending, I muttered under my breath. She's arrogant, reckless, and people notice. Sarah walked past my table. Mason, you're quiet again. Everything okay? I smiled faintly. Fine. Just thinking. Thinking about Lily Carter again? She asked, half teasing. I hesitated, then nodded slightly. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to handle her. Slowly. Carefully. She raised an eyebrow. Be careful, Mason. Revenge can burn the wrong people. I know, I said, the pang of guilt hitting me briefly. I don't want to hurt anyone innocent. Just her. Just remember who you are, she said softly before walking away. Her words lingered as I watched Lily Carter whisper to Mark again, her smile calculating, effortless. That tiny flicker of manipulation made my stomach twist with anger and satisfaction. People were starting to see her cracks, even if she didn't. At the quad later, I cornered Mark casually. Hey Mark, I said, leaning on a bench. You sure Lily Carter's being straight with you? Mark looked confused. What do you mean? I shrugged as if it was casual. Just, sometimes people aren't who they seem. Friends notice things you don't. Don't get hurt. Mark blinked, unsure. Okay? Thanks, I guess. I smiled faintly, walking away. Small seed planted. Observation and subtlety. No rash moves, no dramatic confrontations. Just influence quietly spreading. Lily Carter's arrogance grew, and with it, her recklessness. She laughed too loud at a joke, ignored a classmate's question, tripped over a step while waving to someone, all in front of her group. The cracks widened. My satisfaction grew, but guilt whispered in the back of my mind. Was I becoming what I hated? Using manipulation like she did, watching and nudging from behind the curtain? I shook my head. No, I muttered. It's different. She started this. I'm just reclaiming balance. Walking past the quad later, I overheard a whisper from Chloe to another classmate. I don't trust Lily Carter anymore. She's exhausting. All show, no care. I smiled inwardly. Karma, subtle and slow. Lily Carter didn't notice yet, but people were seeing through her. And I was just patient watching it unfold. That night, I texted Jake casually, "See you tomorrow? Coffee." He replied instantly, "Always. Don't be so brooding, Mason." I stared at the screen, faint smile curling. Brooding? Maybe. But patient too. Careful. Calculating. Observation first, action later. Lily Carter's games were escalating, yes, but I was ready. Every arrogant laugh, every careless slip, every whisper behind her back, I catalogued it all. And the thought made my chest tighten, not with humiliation this time, but with power. For the first time since the betrayal, Mason Carter felt a small, satisfying edge of control. I wasn't done. Not even close. I sat on the bench near the quad, watching Lily Carter laugh with Mark again. My chest twisted with something I couldn't name. Anger, yes, but also nostalgia. Hard to watch, isn't it? Sarah's voice pulled me from my thoughts. She stood beside me, arms crossed, eyes steady. Yeah, I admitted, forcing a small laugh. She's perfect at making me feel powerless. Sarah nodded. You can't stop your feelings just because she hurt you, Mason. But you can control what you do with them. I clenched my fists, the memory of last semester flashing through my mind. Lily Carter and I studying at the library, joking about impossible assignments. Her smile had felt different then. Genuine. I shook my head. That girl no longer existed. Sometimes I wonder if I still care, I said quietly. Even now. Sarah tilted her head. Then that's exactly why you need clarity. Emotions cloud judgment. You need a plan. I looked at her, eyes narrowing. A plan, yeah. Observation, influence, waiting for the right moment. Daniels would approve. Sarah's lips twitched in a small smile. Just don't lose yourself while trying to win. I sighed. I know, but it's hard. Part of me wants to confront her, to make her feel small. Another part wants to go back to those simpler moments. Foolish, isn't it? Not foolish, she said. Human. Mason, you've always been honest with yourself. That honesty, even now, it guides you. I leaned back, letting the sun hit my face, trying to sort through my emotions. I hated that she still affected me this way. I hated the twinge of longing, the flashbacks of laughter and late-night talks. Mark, I muttered, thinking about Lily Carter's admirer. He's clueless. I can use him without hurting him too badly. Sarah frowned. Careful. Manipulation, even subtle, can leave scars. Mason, your plan works best if you stay mindful of who you involve. I nodded, guilt prickling at the edges of satisfaction. I didn't want to become what I hated, but watching Lily Carter slip, seeing her arrogance and cracks, it made a small part of me feel alive again. Do you ever regret trusting her? I asked quietly. Or am I just obsessed? Sarah considered it. Not obsessed. You're conflicted. It's natural. You need to know your limits, what you'll forgive, what you won't. I swallowed hard. Limits? Right. I want revenge, but I still care. That feels weak. No, she said firmly. It's awareness. You're not weak for feeling human emotions. Weakness is letting them control you. I glanced back at Lily Carter, her head tilted as she laughed at Mark's clumsy joke. My stomach twisted, a mixture of anger, jealousy, and a spark of something else. I hated that she still had that effect on me. Observation first, action later, I whispered, echoing Daniel's advice. Patience, strategy, control. Sarah placed a hand on my shoulder. Use that clarity. Let it guide you, not blind you. Mason, your power comes from knowing yourself, not just controlling others. I nodded slowly, letting her words sink in. I see that now. My anger, my longing, it can fuel me, but I can't let it consume me. Not yet. Sarah smiled faintly. Good. You're stronger than you think. And don't forget, you still have allies who care about you. I returned her smile, a mix of gratitude and lingering conflict. Yeah, thanks, Sarah. For keeping me grounded. She shrugged. Someone has to. Now, are you ready to start planning? I looked toward Lily Carter again, that same calculating energy in her laugh, that careless arrogance. My heart still clenched, but the fire inside me burned brighter. Revenge, patience, observation, all of it waiting for the perfect moment. Yeah, I said finally. Planning starts now. The auditorium buzzed with chatter as students filed in for the semester's talent showcase. I adjusted my notes quietly, observing Lily Carter from across the room. She was radiant, laughing with Mark and a few others, completely unaware of the undercurrent I had set in motion. Relax, Mason. You're overthinking it, Jake whispered as he slid into the seat beside me. I'm not overthinking, I replied, keeping my voice even. I'm watching. Timing is everything. Jake shrugged. Sure, whatever you say. Chloe entered next, clutching a stack of papers. She looked frazzled, muttering under her breath. I can't believe I left the printouts in the wrong order. Everyone's going to notice. I caught her eye and smiled faintly. Hey Chloe, mistakes happen. Want me to help you straighten it out? Chloe blinked, surprise flickering across her face. Thanks. That'd be great. While she rearranged the papers, I glanced back at Lily Carter. Mark leaned close, laughing at a joke, completely oblivious. Lily Carter's charm was undeniable, but cracks had already begun to show. A small smirk of satisfaction curled on my lips. The host called for silence. First act, Chloe and her presentation team. Chloe's voice trembled as she began. I stayed silent, letting her stumble subtly at a key point in the presentation. I noticed Lily Carter frown slightly, trying to cover her irritation as she whispered to Mark. Did you see that? Lily Carter whispered loudly enough for Mark to hear. I can't believe she messed up. So careless. I leaned back slightly, letting her arrogance expose itself. Careless. I muttered under my breath. You've got a lot to learn. Jake nudged me. Mason, you okay? Better than okay, I said quietly. Watch this. Chloe's misstep forced her team to improvise, and she stumbled into revealing a crucial error in Lily Carter's group's preparation. They had been relying on Chloe's slides. Suddenly the room murmured, catching on. Lily Carter's face tightened, her smile faltering as she tried to recover without showing panic. Isn't it funny, I whispered to Sarah, who was sitting nearby, how arrogance always shows its cracks? Sarah nodded slightly, eyes wide. Careful, Mason. Enjoying it too much. Maybe a little, I admitted, feeling the familiar pang of guilt. But the satisfaction was stronger. Lily Carter's carefully maintained image was beginning to crumble, and Mark's clueless expression didn't help her cover the mistake. After the presentation, students whispered, glancing at Lily Carter with doubt in their eyes. Chloe looked embarrassed but relieved, unaware she had played a key role. I approached her quietly. Hey Chloe, you did fine. Mistakes happen, but you handled it well. She smiled faintly. Thanks, Mason. That means a lot. Meanwhile, Lily Carter cornered Mark, trying to salvage the situation. I overheard her voice, sharp and fragile. It's not a big deal, Mark. You don't have to worry about what they think. Mark frowned. I don't know. Some of them are whispering. I watched the subtle shift in her posture, the arrogance cracking under pressure. Satisfaction mixed with guilt churned in my stomach. This wasn't cruel, it was balance. Karma, subtle but inevitable. Later, outside the auditorium, Jake nudged me again. Man, I've never seen her like that. You planned this? Not directly, I said, hiding a smile. Just observation and a little influence. Timing. That's all. Sarah appeared beside me. Mason, she's unraveling. You stayed patient, didn't act impulsively. That's smart. I nodded, eyes flicking toward Lily Carter. Her group huddled, whispering, while Mark looked confused and frustrated. Chloe walked past, giving me a small smile of gratitude, unaware of how pivotal her slip had been. Feels good, I muttered quietly, almost to myself. Finally, the first real shift. Sarah's gaze softened. Be careful. Satisfaction can turn into obsession if you let it. I know, I said, voice low. But this is just the start. Observation, patience, and letting consequences unfold. I won't lose myself yet. I looked back at Lily Carter, her confidence shaken, and felt a flicker of triumph. My moral compass nudged me, guilt whispered, but the control, the subtle influence, it was intoxicating. I had set the stage and she had walked right onto it. As students dispersed, whispers following Lily Carter like a shadow, I felt the balance shift. I wasn't just a spectator anymore. Mason Carter was becoming the one pulling threads, quietly, patiently. And for the first time since the betrayal, I felt powerful. I watched Lily Carter from across the quad, her confident stride now hesitant. The group that had once hung on her every word was fracturing, whispers following her like shadows. "Look at her," Jake muttered beside me. "She's different." I kept my voice neutral. "She's showing cracks. Patience, observation, it all works eventually." Jake frowned. "Patience for what?" "Revenge." I shook my head slightly. "Not revenge. Balance. Consequences. She started this, but now, it's unfolding on its own." Lily Carter tripped slightly near the fountain, almost laughing it off, but Mark's confused expression betrayed her faltering charm. "Mark," she whispered, brushing her hair back nervously. It's fine. Don't worry about them." Mark looked uncertain. I think some of them are talking." I felt a pang in my chest. Satisfaction mixed with an unexpected hollow. Seeing her stumble felt different than I imagined. It wasn't purely triumph. There was emptiness beneath the satisfaction. Later, I overheard a conversation between her and another classmate. "I didn't mean to. Lily Carter's voice trembled. Vulnerability rarely suited her, but now it did, and it was raw. "You hurt a lot of people," the classmate said gently. "They notice when you manipulate." I remained hidden behind a column, listening. Guilt and curiosity tangled in my stomach. Part of me wanted to step in, speak, forgive, but another part held firm. Observation. Let consequences unfold naturally. Sarah appeared beside me quietly. "Mason, you okay?" I glanced at her. "Yeah. Watching. Thinking." "Does it feel empty?" she asked softly. I hesitated. "A little." I thought satisfaction would feel sweeter, seeing her falter. "But it's different. I still feel something for her. But not trust. Not respect." Sarah nodded. "That's normal. You're seeing her unravel, but you're also reflecting on yourself. That's growth, Mason." I let her words sink in as Lily Carter tried to rejoin Mark, who seemed hesitant, unsure if he could still trust her. "Mark, please," she said, voice trembling. I didn't mean to hurt you." Mark shook his head slowly. I need time, Lily. I can't ignore it." The subtle fracture was widening. I felt a small satisfaction tinged with unease. My careful plan wasn't necessary now. Lily Carter's actions were unraveling her on their own. I walked closer, remaining out of earshot but close enough to sense her desperation. Why did she think she could keep this up? I muttered. Charm only goes so far. Lily Carter approached a group of classmates trying to salvage rapport, but they exchanged cautious glances, whispering behind their hands. Her usual charisma faltered under scrutiny. "Everyone's looking at me differently," she whispered to herself more than anyone else. What did I do wrong? I stayed silent, chest tight with conflicted emotion. Revenge felt unnecessary. Observation, patience, strategy, all of it had led to this natural reckoning. I was no longer pulling strings. Karma was unfolding effortlessly. Sarah leaned closer. "You're still human, Mason. Don't forget that. You can watch, but you don't have to relish it. Use it to learn about yourself." I nodded slightly. I think I understand that now. Seeing her falter, it doesn't heal everything. It just reveals reality. Her arrogance, my trust in her, and my own emotional weaknesses. I watched Lily Carter attempt another smile, faltering again as whispers followed her. She tried to reach out to Mark. "Please? I didn't mean for this to happen. Can we talk?" Mark's expression hardened. "Not yet. You need to prove it. Actions, not words." I clenched my fists subtly, a mixture of lingering attachment and controlled satisfaction churning inside me. Forgiveness wasn't ready, but justice, quiet, natural, and inevitable, was already here. Later Jake nudged me. "Man, she looks, I don't know, different. You okay watching this?" "I am," I said quietly. "Watching doesn't mean enjoying it. It's reflection, learning. Seeing her fail, seeing myself in all of this." Sarah's voice echoed in my mind. "You don't have to relish it. Use it to learn about yourself." I nodded internally. Lily Carter's downfall wasn't just about revenge. It was a mirror showing me trust, judgment, and emotional resilience. I still cared, yes, but not blindly. I glanced one last time as she left the quad, alone, whispers trailing. Satisfaction mixed with guilt and reflection. This wasn't closure yet, but it was truth. And for the first time, Mason Carter realized revenge without growth felt hollow, but observing, learning, and surviving, that felt like strength. I sat alone in the cafe, nursing a lukewarm coffee, watching students pass by. Lily Carter's name kept looping in my mind, along with the whispers that trailed her everywhere. Karma had done its work, but a question gnawed at me: should I push it further or step back? Jake slid into the seat across from me, raising an eyebrow. "You've been quiet all day. What's going on in that head of yours?" I exhaled slowly. "I'm thinking about Lily Carter. About all of it. About me. About what I want to do next." Jake frowned. "You mean revenge?" I shook my head slightly. "Not just revenge. Full exposure. Social ruin. Emotional collapse. I could make her feel everything she made me feel. But it would change me too." Jake leaned back, crossing his arms. "Change you how?" "Bitter, obsessed, maybe unrecognizable to myself," I admitted. I've been walking this line between justice and satisfaction for weeks. Watching her stumble, it was enough. But the idea of stepping over that line, doing it intentionally, scares me. Sarah appeared, sliding into the seat beside me, eyes soft but piercing. "Mason, you've done enough. Letting karma unfold naturally doesn't make you weak. It makes you aware." I nodded, staring into my coffee as memories surfaced. Library nights studying with Lily Carter, late-night laughs, Mark's oblivious admiration, Chloe's accidental aid. Flashbacks blurred the lines between what I'd lost and what I wanted to preserve. "She hurt me, yes," I murmured. "But if I destroy her completely, what am I proving? That I can hurt someone better than she hurt me?" Sarah leaned closer. "You're stronger than that. You're learning control, restraint. The satisfaction you crave doesn't come from destruction. It comes from understanding, surviving, and growing." Jake tapped the table. "I get it, Mason. But I've seen you, when you're patient, when you plan. You could, if you want it. Just make sure it's worth it." I closed my eyes, feeling the familiar burn of anger, the hollow pang of loss, and the faint warmth of lingering care. Part of me still felt protective, almost nostalgic. Another part wanted to see her humbled fully, a mirror of her past arrogance reflected in shattered trust. I could confront her publicly, call out everything she's done, I said quietly, voice tight. Mark, her friends, everyone. They'd see her for what she truly is. But I'd cross a line. I'd be doing exactly what I hated. Sarah's gaze softened. "And that's your choice. But Mason, choosing restraint, that's where your strength lies." I thought of Lily Carter's faltering smiles, whispered apologies, and Mark's hesitant eyes. Watching her unravel without my interference felt incomplete, yet right. Justice had arrived naturally. No planning, no manipulation, just truth. "I want justice," I admitted. "Not cruelty. Not obsession. Karma is already working. I don't need to force it. But stepping back, it's harder than I thought." Jake nudged me gently. "Maybe that's the point. The hardest choice is often the right one." I nodded slowly, letting it settle. I can't lose myself chasing vengeance. I can watch, I can learn, I can survive, and I can let consequences do their work. Sarah smiled faintly. "And Mason, in doing so, you preserve yourself. That's the ultimate victory." I felt a strange calm, the storm of anger and longing in my chest beginning to ease. I wasn't weak. I wasn't powerless. I was learning patience, observation, and self-preservation. "I'll step back," I said finally, voice firmer than I expected. "I'll let karma take its course. I won't push it further. Not for revenge, not for satisfaction, for me." Jake smiled, relief in his eyes. Finally, Mason Carter makes a choice that doesn't destroy him. I allowed myself a small smile, letting the warmth of that thought sink in. I could survive this. I could grow. And maybe one day I could forgive, not Lily Carter entirely, but myself for letting go of the urge to destroy. The cafe noise faded into background hum as I stared out the window, Mason Carter feeling lighter, stronger, and more in control than I had in weeks. Karma, patience, self-growth, it was enough. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I could breathe. I sat in the quiet corner of the library, flipping through notes but barely reading them. Lily Carter's face kept appearing in my mind, fractured by whispers, mistakes, and faltering confidence. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. "Mason, we need to talk. Now." I frowned. Daniel, always in the wrong place at the wrong time, but somehow always part of the chaos. I didn't trust him, but curiosity gnawed at me. I texted back, "Fine. Library now." He appeared a few minutes later, eyes sharp, posture tense. You don't know the whole story, Mason? I raised an eyebrow. Enlighten me. I've been watching Lily Carter crumble for weeks. What could you possibly add? Daniel swallowed, glancing nervously around. I didn't want it to happen like this. Lily Carter didn't act alone in her manipulations. She was pushed. I laughed, bitter. Pushed? By who? You. He shook his head quickly. No, not me. But I know someone planted ideas, subtly guided her, made her think certain things were okay. I warned her, but she ignored it. My chest tightened. You mean, someone manipulated Lily Carter? So some of the betrayal wasn't fully hers. Daniel nodded, expression earnest. Exactly. She wasn't completely in control. And there's more, her family situation. She's dealing with things you don't know. Her arrogance, her charm, it's partly a defense mechanism. I felt a whirlpool of emotions, anger, confusion, and an unfamiliar sting of pity. My carefully planned observations, my moral calculations. What if I had misjudged her entirely? Wait, I said slowly. Are you saying Lily Carter isn't entirely guilty? That some of this was forced, manipulated? Yes, Daniel said, voice low. And it's not just social. Her personal life is collapsing too. She's scared, Mason. She's never shown it before, but she's fragile. I sank back in my chair, running hands through my hair. Every plan, every moment of satisfaction, now tangled with a new, complicated truth. Jake appeared beside me, arms crossed, eyes narrowing. Mason, you look like you just swallowed a brick. What's going on? I exhaled. It's not that simple. Lily Carter. Maybe she wasn't fully responsible. Maybe someone else influenced her. And she's dealing with personal stuff I didn't know. Jake frowned. So, what does that mean for you? Revenge? Karma? I shook my head slowly. It changes everything. I can't act like she's just a villain anymore. I can't just watch satisfaction unfold. There's nuance, moral ambiguity, and I have to decide how to respond without losing control. Sarah appeared then, her expression calm but attentive. Mason, I can see it on your face. What did Daniel tell you? Everything I didn't know, I said quietly. Lily Carter wasn't acting alone, and her life is messy, complicated. I feel anger, yes, but pity too, and a cautious curiosity. I don't know where the line is anymore. Sarah nodded. That's why this is the moral climax. You can't rush judgment. You have to process it, understand it, and decide what kind of person Mason Carter wants to be. I leaned back, eyes tracing the shelves. Part of me wants to confront her, get answers. Part of me wants to step back entirely. Part of me wants to protect her from herself even after everything. Jake shook his head. Protect her? Mason, you've been through hell because of her. I know, I admitted. But what if I've been wrong about her intentions all along? What if my satisfaction came at the cost of empathy? Daniel shifted nervously. I didn't want this to happen. I tried to warn her. But people, they make choices. Even if influenced, she's still learning. I exhaled slowly. So now, it's about observation again, but not just to watch her fail. It's to understand. To see clearly. To decide, morally, emotionally, what I do next. Sarah placed a hand on my shoulder. And Mason, that strength. Recognizing ambiguity, holding yourself accountable, controlling your reactions. That's power. I nodded, chest heavy but clearer. Anger still flickered, but it was tempered with understanding. Frustration still gnawed, but it was balanced with caution. I realized I wasn't just navigating revenge anymore. I was navigating truth, responsibility, and my own moral survival. I looked toward Lily Carter's empty seat across the quad, thinking about what Daniel had revealed. I didn't know what path I'd choose yet, but I knew one thing. Mason Carter would not act blindly. Not now. Not ever. And for the first time that felt like control. I stood at the edge of the campus quad, feeling the cool breeze sweep through my hair, the chaos of the past weeks settling into quiet. Lily Carter's absence was noticeable. Whispers had followed her, reputations had shifted, and now, watching the aftermath, I realized this wasn't just about revenge. It was about truth, growth, and survival. Jake joined me, hands shoved into his pockets. You're quiet again. Thinking? I nodded slowly. Yeah. About everything. About her, about me. About what all of this has cost, and what it's given me. Jake glanced at the spot where Lily Carter had last appeared. So, what now? Is it over? I let out a slow breath. It's never really over. But closure isn't about endings. It's about understanding. Seeing her mistakes, the consequences, and choosing who I want to be. Jake raised an eyebrow. You mean, you're letting it go? I smiled faintly. Not entirely. I'm letting karma do its work. I've learned that forcing satisfaction doesn't fix anything. It just changes me. I've watched her falter and that was enough. The rest, I'll leave to life. Sarah appeared then carrying a stack of books, her presence calm and reassuring. Mason, you look different, stronger even. I chuckled lightly. I feel different. Watching, reflecting, it changes you. Seeing Lily Carter's downfall wasn't sweet, not like I imagined. It was necessary. But the real lesson was in my restraint. Sarah smiled. And the real strength is realizing that control doesn't come from manipulation. It comes from self-awareness. I nodded. Exactly. I've grown, Sarah. I've survived betrayal, anger, and the temptation to destroy someone. And now, I can move forward without letting it define me. Jake smirked. Look at Mason Carter, the philosopher. I laughed softly. Maybe. Or just someone who finally understands the weight of choice. Later, I saw Lily Carter walking past the quad, head down, shoulders tense, but no whispers followed. She didn't look triumphant or arrogant, just quiet, vulnerable. I wanted to say something, anything, but I hesitated. The time for confrontation had passed. Words wouldn't change the past. Instead, I called out softly, Lily Carter. She froze, looking up with wide eyes. For a moment, I thought she'd run. Instead, she approached slowly. You wanted to see me? She asked, voice cautious. I shook my head. Not really. I just wanted to acknowledge reality. You made mistakes, yes. But so did I, in how I trusted, how I judged. We both have lessons to carry forward. Her lips pressed into a thin line. I don't expect forgiveness. I shook my head again. You don't need it. Just live with the consequences and maybe learn from them. That's enough. She nodded slowly, and for a brief moment our eyes met. No arrogance, no manipulation, just recognition. I didn't feel triumph, just understanding. Jake elbowed me lightly. Wow. Mason Carter giving life advice. Never thought I'd see the day. I smirked. Keep your jokes, Jake. This is serious. Sarah laughed quietly. It's serious, but it's also closure. Mason, you've balanced justice with restraint. That's not easy. I leaned against the railing, gazing at the sunset spilling gold across the quad. I realize now, revenge is temporary. Satisfaction fades. What lasts is growth, survival, and self-respect. Seeing Lily Carter stumble was part of it, yes, but my real victory is myself. Jake nodded slowly. So, you're really done with all this? I turned to him, eyes steady. Yes. Done watching, done calculating, done obsessing. I can focus on my life, my studies, my friends, and maybe even something more. Sarah smiled warmly. And that's exactly what you deserve, Mason. You've earned it, not through bitterness but through strength and reflection. I felt a pang in my chest, a bittersweet mixture of lingering feelings for Lily Carter and relief at letting go. Life didn't always hand closure neatly, but sometimes it gave clarity. I glanced at Lily Carter one last time as she disappeared down the walkway. No words were exchanged, but I felt something shift inside me. A release of anger, a release of expectation, a release of the past. Turning back to Jake and Sarah, I finally smiled fully, chest lightened by weeks of turmoil. Let's go. I think I've earned a break from all this drama. Jake laughed. Finally. Mason Carter, free from the weight of betrayal. I chuckled, walking alongside them. The sunset painted the quad in warm tones, casting long shadows, but for the first time I felt light. I had survived, I had grown, and I had learned that real strength wasn't in crushing someone else. It was in facing the storm, letting it shape me, and walking forward with clarity. As we left the quad together, Mason Carter felt a profound sense of closure. Not everything was perfect. Lily Carter's story was far from over, but my story was moving forward. And for the first time in a long time I felt whole. The sun was dipping low over Chicago, golden light spilling across the streets as I walked toward the small cafe where Jake and Sarah were waiting. Months had passed since everything with Lily Carter had settled into memory, but I could still feel the echoes of those days. The betrayal, the moral turmoil, the quiet victories. Life had changed. I had changed. Jake waved as I approached, grin wide. Finally decided to show up, Mason Carter. Thought you'd gone full monk on us or something. I laughed softly, shaking my head. Not a monk, just a guy who's learned a few things. Sarah looked up from her coffee, eyes warm. It's good to see you smiling, Mason. You seem lighter. I feel lighter, I admitted, sliding into the seat. It's weird, isn't it? How much weight a betrayal can put on you, and how slowly it lifts once you make peace with it. Jake leaned back, arms crossed, smirk still on his face. Peace, huh? Sounds almost boring coming from Mason Carter. I grinned. Maybe. But boring feels good after all that drama. Sarah laughed softly. So, tell us, how's life different? How have you changed? I sipped my coffee thinking. I've learned to trust cautiously, not blindly. I've realized patience and observation are more powerful than rash action. And I've learned that revenge, real revenge, isn't about hurting someone else. It's about surviving, growing, and letting consequences play out naturally. Jake raised an eyebrow. Sounds like you're turning into a philosopher now. Maybe, I said smiling. Or just someone who knows the value of control. I've learned who matters and who doesn't, who stays and who leaves, and that's okay. Some friendships healed, some faded, but the lessons remain. Sarah nodded. That sounds healthy. And honest. You've been through so much, Mason. You've earned that clarity. I glanced out the window, catching a glimpse of students laughing together, small moments of life unfolding around us. I still think about Lily Carter sometimes, I admitted. Not with anger, not even regret. Just understanding. She had her reasons, her flaws, her struggles. And I had mine. We both learned, just in very different ways. Jake smirked. So no dramatic final showdown? No epic revenge plot? I shook my head, smiling softly. No. I realized that the real showdown was within me. Confronting my own anger, my judgment, my desire for control. That was the fight I needed to win. Sarah reached across the table, giving my hand a gentle squeeze. And you did. Mason Carter faced it all and came out stronger. I felt a warmth in my chest, a mix of relief and quiet pride. I think I'm ready to move on. Ready to focus on what matters. My studies, my friendships, my future. And maybe, a little bit of myself I didn't know existed before. Jake leaned forward, smirking again. So, is there a Mason Carter dating chapter now? Or are you still strictly philosophical? I laughed, shaking my head. We'll see. Right now I'm content just living. No schemes, no manipulations. Just experiencing life without the weight of past grudges. Sarah smiled softly. That's a rare kind of peace, Mason. Hold on to it. I nodded, letting the sunlight warm my face as we sat there, talking, laughing, and sharing simple moments. The world didn't feel heavy anymore. The lessons had been harsh, but I had survived. I had grown. And now, I could enjoy life without constantly looking over my shoulder. Jake nudged me playfully. All right, philosopher, ready to leave and grab some food? Absolutely, I said, standing and brushing off my jeans. Life's too short to dwell on the past. As we walked down the streets, the golden sunlight fading into evening, I felt a sense of calm I hadn't known in a long time. Betrayal, revenge, moral dilemmas, they were all behind me. What remained was clarity, strength, and the quiet joy of moving forward. Mason Carter had survived. Mason Carter had learned. And Mason Carter was finally ready to live.